Hi. A while ago I started working as a voice actor and voiceover artist, and for the most part I've been doing this in an improvised vocal booth in the cellar. But it's cold and uncomfortable here, and there's a water line that sometimes hisses into my recordings. So it's 2020 now, and my main daytime job is just not happening this year. So I decided, since this is now my main job, it's high time that I built myself a proper noise-isolated recording booth. Let's get going. This is the spot in my living room where I want to build my booth. First I made a plan. I used Fusion 360 because I wanted to practice with it, but pen and paper would have worked just as well. For the base plate and the roof I have had OSB cut to measure at my local hardware store. But since I want to have the door diagonally across the corner, that corner has to be cut off. That is a lot easier if you don't cut into the metal table underneath. Then I cut some bars to length that will serve as feet and screw them to the base plate. I also add felt padding. Now I can already put the base plate in its final spot. This carpet will be part of the booth later, but for now I use it to protect my wooden floor. The outside of the booth will be plasterboard. With its high density, it can take up a lot of sonic energy. Plasterboard is pretty easy to work with. If you cut the paper on one side, you can break it and then cut the paper on the other side. I have glued bars to the plasterboard. Later I will fix them with screws from the other side. I use Sikaflex to make sure that there are absolutely no gaps through which the sound could creep. The wall will be filled with mineral wool for sound dampening as well as sound insulation. This particular product is called Sonorock and is said to have especially good acoustic properties. The inward side is covered with a carpet. For the outlet behind the booth, I have bought this extension cord with a very flat plug that I will lead into the booth. Oh, I almost forgot to screw on the bars. Now I can put the rear wall into its position. The towels over the corners are there so that I don't scratch the wall of the house. Now all the other walls are being built just the same way. I seal all connections between the walls with Sikaflex and connect them with steel angles. I paint all visible surfaces white. Because the door will be mounted diagonally, I screw triangular wood strips to the door opening, to which I screw the hinges. By the way, this door has been in my house since it has been built in 1930. Now I staple the carpeting to the roof plate. I cut out a small skylight, so that at least a little light gets in from outside. This is covered on the inside with a transparent film. To the outside I will later glue a glass plate. The roof plate is glued to the walls with Sikaflex. This is one of those jobs that you really shouldn't do on your own. This way I smeared the carpet with Sikaflex, but I was able to remove as much as possible with nitro thinner and a lot of rubbing. Now I screw on the plate and glue in the glass pane. To the doorpost I screw strips of wood on which I staple loose carpet strips, which shall serve as a gasket. I also add a foam gasket. So that the door gets a little more mass and so becomes more soundproof, I glue plasterboard leftovers to the surface. I cover that with rock wool and the carpet. Maybe I should have done that before installing the door. Now, I've been trying to get the cabin as airtight as possible so that no sound can get in and out. But I don't want to suffocate. That's why I'm putting 2 fans in the cabin. To prevent sound from the outside from entering, I designed a maze for the sound waves and printed it all on my 3D printer. The idea is that the sound loses energy due to the many curves. Hoping that this would swallow up even more sound, I borrowed a device from my dad and his model train friends that's used to sprinkle grass on model train layouts and flocked my 3D print with it. That worked only halfway. Dumping the grass stuff in and swishing it around was easier in the end. Now, of course, I wanted to find out if this makes any sense at all. I played white noise through a small speaker and recorded that with a microphone. Then I put one of my ventilation mazes over it, both with and without flocking, and recorded the result as well. And this is the result. The maze reduces the noise level considerably. The flocking with the grass had a small effect too, especially with high frequency. However, it must also be said that in combination with a fan, the maze created a little noise of its own. I used an old yoga mat as a gasket and screwed on both fans. Now the only thing left to do is make it look a little bit like the cabinet next to it. So it's 2021 now. My booth has been ready for a while, I've been working in it, and it's really high time that I gave you a tour and get this video done. So let's go. Welcome to my new workplace. I have invested all of 20 euros in a new old monitor so that I don't have to look down all the time. I built some kind of shelf up here that has no special purpose yet. Oh, and I, since I want to make some music in here too, and my keyboard wouldn't it fit in here sideways, I stripped it off its case and mounted it to a drawer. So, yeah, I guess that's it. If you have any questions, just ask, and otherwise please like and subscribe and so on as usual, and see you next time. Bye bye.